Your body doesn't function on calories. It functions on nutrition. That's macronutrients, that's micronutrients, minerals, vitamins.
Exactly.
That's how it's functioning on when we think about our mitochondria on a cellular level with our fats and proteins and carbs. So we kind of need these as building blocks. If we are doing all that, then it buffers the cake that we eat, or it buffers anything that we do eat. It's like your body is more equipped and it can handle that better rather than starving yourself from a place of depletion.
Welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jenn Trepeck, talking wellness and weight loss for real life. We're here to clear up the myths, misinformation, bad science, and marketing to teach you how to eat and how to cheat. Are you ready? I'm having salad with a side of fries. Hey friend, welcome back to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your health coach and host, Jenn Trepeck, always here with you every week for wellness without the weirdness. And joining me today is Alana, joining us all the way from Germany, right?
Australian, but living in Germany. Yes.
Yeah. The magic of technology.
Really.
Yes. And so we initially connected because Alana also has a podcast. So Alana, officially welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Yes. So I'm excited because today's episode is all about how we can eat foods like cake, the things that others will tell you are quote unquote off limits and still feel fantastic. So we're going to cover both the physical piece of the nutrition side and then also the mindset side so we can enjoy without guilt, right? And what's even more interesting maybe about talking about this now is that we are ahead of the holidays. We're ahead of Thanksgiving. We're even ahead of Halloween. And so what I love about this timing and why we're doing this is because it allows us to put a plan in place before we feel like we're drowning in the chaos of the season. And that I think is half the battle. Right? Alana, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I think when it comes to basically after, I would say even summer, it's just like, well, it's kind of going into no man's land. Does it even matter? Next year we'll start again. And like, I get that and I understand that. But when we're thinking about long-term sustainable health, it's not something that you kind of jump on and off. It's like, why can't we just enjoy what we're doing all the time, whether it's Halloween or Christmas or just a normal day in February,
Exactly.
So it's having that balance. And when I say balance, I find that it's maybe not
I
the right
know,
word,
even
but
that's yeah.
do we use that word? But it's just having this diversity and having this flexibility around all types of foods. And you said it before, it's without that shame and without that guilt, because that's actually what ends up kicking us in the ass and keeping us in the same type of patterns.
In that cycle. Yeah, exactly. All right. So before we get too far into it, we have to tell the Happy Healthy Hub members what they're getting. So members, I'm actually sending you 2 recipes this week because I just couldn't help myself. So fitting for today's episode, one is for mini chocolate cakes, and that recipe makes 12 of them. So your second recipe is for chocolate mug cake, and that allows you to make a single serving in just a few minutes when you want that something. Both of them are surprisingly easy. You probably already have all of the ingredients in your pantry already. So if you want these recipes, be sure that you're a member of the Happy Healthy Hub. You'll go to asaladwithasideofFries.com/membership for just $12 a month. Or, by the way, you can pay the whole year up front and you get 2 months free. You get weekly recipes, curated articles, discounts from me and our partners, expert interviews in full video, including behind-the-scenes content, a community board so you can post and comment on other people's posts, plus access to the 24/7 AMA, which is Ask Me Anything, so that we can target your specific questions or challenges. You can upvote other people's questions, see past Q&As, and so much more. So this really is the next best thing to working with me in my signature 12-week program. So if you're ready to level up your health this fall, support the podcast as well, you can do that by going to asaladwithasideofFries.com/membership, or just click the link in the episode notes because that's a lot easier. From there, you'll click subscribe now, follow the prompts to enter your payment info, and create your login to access the hub. And then you'll be all set to receive this week's recipes for the mini chocolate cakes and the chocolate mug cake. So, okay, have our cake and feel great. Let's start with the nutrition side. Number one to me is eat those sweet treats right after the meal, right? Have our protein, have our fiber, our quality fat, our nutrition, and then have the dessert right after instead of later and separately sugar bombing your body and creating a blood sugar roller coaster.
Yeah, totally. I was just about to say that's that blood. It's the insulin, it's the blood sugar. That's what we're aiming at when we're having it after a meal, with a meal, around a meal. Yeah. I mean, yes, from the nutrition side, that is what you want. And also, whoever's got small children out there, you'd also know with cavities as well, that's the best thing to kind of keep cavities, I mean, not nutritional side, but keep it at bay. So, yeah, around food. But even when it's not with the main meal, so it's 3 p.m., it's 4 p.m., people are getting tired, the afternoon dip. To be able to eat cake, you can also then have it with something small from the
Agreed.
nutritional,
Yeah, pair it,
background.
right? Like pairing
Mm.
those foods. So if we're having, you know, I'm thinking Halloween candy, have a couple almonds or walnuts and
Mm.
that little chocolate bar or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah. Make it a small little thing. Like, make it a ritual. Make it a little ceremony. Put your whatever it is, cake with some yogurt and fruit and make it fun a little bit. Because so often we just go for the cake because it's easy and it's quick and you do get that energy high. But if we're thinking about blood sugar levels, yeah, sustaining them would be better with your fats and proteins and carbs.
Exactly. And it's so funny because as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oftentimes I say to people, that cake is not a meal on its own and it's not a snack on its own. Even though as a kid, I think on our birthdays, it was like cake for breakfast. But maybe that was just me. But, you know, I was thinking about as adults, why is it that we sometimes choose that thing to be the entire snack or the entire meal? And the rationale that popped to my head was the old adage of eat less, move more. That if what's important are the
Mm.
calories, then eating less calories is the priority. So I'm going to eat the cake by itself. And what we know from all of the research and actual biology is that that's not how the body works.
If only it was that easy. If only you could
Right.
just like, we wouldn't
Exactly.
have the situation that we're in today. Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
So for everybody, have your cake and feel great. Stop fearing calories and eat nutrition with your cake.
Mm. Yeah. And, the one cake is not gonna destroy anything. It's
Totally.
like, going to the gym once isn't gonna make you, let's say, physically fit. It's the overall thing. It's your attitude into how you approach it. And yeah, I mean, this eat less, move more. I think that's done more detriment than it has good long term.
Full stop. Yes.
And let's focus on nourishment. Let's focus on what we can bring in, not what we're cutting out.
Exactly. And by that token, I wonder, do you see this where you live? Everything here these days is added protein in every single possible thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely buzzwords, whether it's protein or gluten-free, like, there's all this
Yes.
labeling on things that are naturally high or gluten-free or high in protein. Eggs, high in protein. It's like, yeah,
Right.
yeah, of
Well, and
course.
then what's happening here is that every time we turn around, there's a new high protein cake or high
Mm.
protein.
Snickers bar. I saw that the
Right,
other day, actually.
exactly.
Mm.
So, sure, having these healthier recipes, by the way, I'm sending you to our members, right? You're getting two healthier cake recipes. And I think there are pros and cons to these. You know,
Yeah.
on the one hand, yes, it's healthier ingredients. Sometimes they do have better macro balance with added protein or things like that. I think on the con side, I also believe that we then justify eating these things more often because of that. And it's keeping us addicted to those sweet flavors, to some of these rituals that may serve us in one capacity, but then hold us back mentally.
Exactly. So it comes down to the habit of it. So, for example, you probably know brownies, which are made from
Black beans.
black
Yeah.
beans, right? So that's like protein in a brownie. It's delicious. It's everything you need. It's ticking all boxes. You can eat that for breakfast. I often think about, because I have children, and so whether I'm doing it for myself, my children, what's the habit that I'm instilling? So while these brownies are super high in fiber, super high in protein, really healthy, is a brownie for breakfast overall what I want to be encouraging? So I think that's where you can kind of think about what habit are you building? Whether it's healthy or not healthy, that's not the point. The point is what relationship are you having with nutrition? So I
Yes,
think that's kind of where it comes to that. I think it comes down to the habits and behavior around food as well.
for sure. For sure. And I love the idea that you just brought up of thinking about it as the habit that we're instilling, brownie for breakfast,
It's
and
healthy.
then going, but it's, a protein brownie or it's whatever. By the way, I had a protein brownie after a meal and it still spiked my blood sugar. Right now, I didn't make the protein brownie, so I don't know how much protein was actually in it. I don't, bought one from, one of those like healthier restaurants. So
Yeah.
it
You're
is what
damned
it
if you
is,
do,
but
you're
it's
damned if you
right.
don't. Yeah. And I mean, it's also like how much, I mean, I feel we've gone to such an extreme. And I mean, I kind of
Totally.
use America as a bit of a
Well, we are
landing
the
board for
extreme
this.
for sure.
It's so lovely, so endearing. But yeah, like what is the blood sugar levels? And like we're so fixed on what we can control and how it looks and how it smells, like what it is that we can see to determine how it is that we feel. But if you take away all of these testing and things, like deep down, you know what your body thrives on.
Yeah.
You know when your bowels are working good, when your skin looks good, when everything's functioning, you know that it feels good. When you just let's use these protein brownies, when you just smash, a day of them because whatever reason, you know that it doesn't work well for you. So whether you're testing your blood sugar levels or counting or whatever it is that you're doing with your food, if you strip all that back, you actually know what's good or like what you
Yeah.
thrive
What
on and
works
what
for
you don't
you?
thrive on, what
Yeah.
works exactly for the individual for you.
Yeah.
So I started to dig down into, well, why don't we do that? Like, we know what's healthy. If you ask someone what's, quote unquote healthy, and I don't like using healthy, not healthy, because that also feeds into,
Totally.
oh, you're
We're the
eating
same
something.
person. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This is why I like salad with a side of fries. Like, it really puts it really
Yeah.
nicely. I love the name. So we all know what to do, but we don't do it anyway. So why don't we do it? This got me ticking. This, scratch my brain. And it wasn't until I was seeing a client. People can follow also nutrition. They can follow the guidelines. They can do all the things. But as soon as something happens, like, I don't know, stress at work, a breakup, financial issues, a pandemic, whatever it is, we kind of lose that grip on things. And then we get back into old patterns. And I was seeing a client the other day and we're talking about movement and she's like, "I can't do it. I can't do sport." And it's like, "Okay." But sport does all these benefits. And of course, we know the benefits of moving your body. We start to unpack it and she's like, "When I was in primary school, a teacher, my PE teacher, like slapped me on the ass and told me to move along, fatty."
Oh my God. My jaw's on the floor.
She said from that day I stopped doing sport. So of course, 30 years later, when it's like, okay, so sport's really good for you, or, whatever you're doing to promote health, if you've got something stopping you, no matter how much you're told something is good for you, no matter how much okay, I need to do this for all the right reasons, at some point you hold yourself back. And we've all got stories like these. It might not be as serious as that, or it could be worse than that, but we've all got different things that we've all picked up along the way that prevent us from doing the things that we actually want to do. So,
I
yeah.
love this story because it takes us to what we want to talk in the second half about, which is all of the other things, the mental side of this that either keeps us choosing the cake and not choosing other things and then not feeling great about it, whatever it is. But I have a couple more thoughts on the nutrition side before we
Yeah.
transition to
Yeah.
that. And part of the first half of that story also reminded me of do all of the other things in our day that are part of our plan. So often, again, back to that calories thing, people will say, I didn't eat all day to make sure that I could eat this.
Mm.
And again, that's not how the body works. So do all the other things in the day. We want to eat our protein and fiber packed breakfast. We want to get our movement in that day, drink our water, do all of the other things. And our body is better equipped to handle the indulgent
It'll
cake or
buffer it
sugar or
easier.
whatever.
Mm.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
sometimes, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking because I was speaking with someone the other day. I'm not having cake so I can have beer lately. I'm not eating so I can have beer lately. I mean, I live in Germany, so beer is
Right.
obviously a big thing. Same thing, calories in, calories out. And it just, of course, it's resonating what you're saying. That doesn't equate because your body doesn't function on calories. It functions on nutrition. That's macronutrients, that's micronutrients, minerals, vitamins.
Exactly.
That's how it's functioning on when we think about our mitochondria on a cellular level with our fats and proteins and carbs. So we kind of need these as building blocks. And exactly what you
Exactly.
said, like if we are doing all that, then it buffers the cake that we eat or it buffers anything that we do eat. It's like your body is more equipped and it can handle that better rather than starving yourself from a place of depletion and then having something which will then probably be more demanding on the body.
Right. For
Mhm.
sure. And by that same token, as much as we want to also do all of the things the day of, I often sometimes, especially when it's a holiday, I often talk with my clients about planning the next day so that the holiday is simply that, a day, and not that old snowball, right? That old pattern of that snowball, all hell breaking loose, sliding, whatever it might be. Even like you were saying before, that, okay, well, let's just slide till the end of the year and figure it out
Next
later.
January, yeah.
It doesn't have to be that on off thing. And by that token, when I say plan the next day, I'm a stickler for the language that we use. So when I say plan the next day, it's not about getting right back on. And I'm using air quotes for everybody who can't see, right? Getting right back on the next day. That's not what I mean. What I mean is keep going. Because as long as we had a plan and we stuck to the plan, there's nothing off. It's just a choice. It is what it is. And onward.
Health isn't linear. It's not
Right.
like that. It's also you think about, like, your moods. You're not always happy. Happy is not a place where you can be. It's a feeling, it's a state where you move in and out of. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're scared, sometimes you're fearful, you're feeling joy, and you don't wanna be stuck in, being anxious or in a disgust mood for too long. You can't be stuck in happiness. It's like you're feeling like this throughout the day. You're finding your way back to center, and I think it's the same with what we eat. Your body, depending what you're doing, if it's a stressful day, your body's probably going to ask for more
Yep.
carbohydrates, high sugar foods. That's okay. And when you're aware of that, that's fine. Do it consciously. I think the danger
Exactly.
is when you do it in autopilot. You come home after a full week and you just sit down and, you want to go onto the couch and just eat the ice cream. And the thing is no matter how much you're telling yourself, don't eat the ice cream, don't eat the ice cream, if your body is geared for, I'm going to have the ice cream, you can't steer it. You can't steer it away. So when I say eat cake and feel great, it's yes, about the nutrition side. How can you maximize it so it feels good in your body? So you're not feeling bloated and overfed, if you don't eat the whole day and then you eat some dessert or
Yep.
whatever it is, you
Yep.
overindulge and then you're physically not feeling good. Eating cake and feeling great to not only nutritionally tick all the boxes, but in all senses of it as well.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
we'll come to the mental side, but one of the things you also just mentioned was one of the things that I talk to people about, which is especially if it's a holiday that comes once a year. What are the foods that define that holiday for you? Where if you didn't eat it or them, you would end up thinking about them for a week, a month, or however long. So consider what those foods are and make sure that you include them in your plan. That's part of enjoying the holiday, and it's okay for food to be part of how you enjoy a holiday or an event or any experience.
Absolutely. It brings people together. Like, food
Exactly.
is amazing for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the follow-up question to that is how much do you have to feel like you had it? How much do you have to feel like you had it? Now, for some people, we talk about the 3-bite rule. So we have a nutrition nugget you can go back to on the 3-bite rule. We'll link it in the episode notes here. But essentially, what we know from neuroscience is that the only bites we typically taste are the first, the second, and the last. So by that token, maybe all we need is 3 bites. Well, I'm also here to tell you that there are certain foods, especially the ones that like define that holiday for you, 3 bites may not cut it. And that's okay too, right? It's just know what your plan is. How much do we have to feel like we had it? Odds are it's not half the cake.
And also, it's only one holiday. Like,
Right.
I almost want to say, who cares? But of
Right.
course, if you're like, but I get this, when you hear it from, when you tell that to yourself, it's like, am I cheating? No, I hate these cheat days. Like, I disdain, I'm having a cheat day. Like, for me, that just doesn't sit well. It's not about one day. It's not about 1 month. Think of your health, like getting, 30s, 40s, like life is long.
Yes.
Life is long, and it's about all the small decisions that you make. And it's what you said before, it's keep going. Enjoy that one day. I mean, you're a professional. I'm also in the professional space. There are days, we're women as well. We're cyclical. There are times where
Yes.
we just want to have these foods which feed other parts of us. And that's
Yes.
also okay. And of course, around the holidays, whether it's Halloween or Christmas, Thanksgiving, you guys have in the States,
Yep.
it's not good. Like, I think that's becoming more like people know this as well. And people
Yes.
also allow them. But we're very strict in what we do. And
Right.
because
I
we
think there's
can
a difference between
control.
intellectually knowing it and truly believing it and living with that in that space. And so that even connects. And the story you were telling before also makes me think of like cravings and nighttime cravings. And some of that is so often connected to under eating in the first half of the day, that ritual of how we relax at the end of the day. And even in addressing those, it's a process and an evolution, not flipping a switch.
It's
Yeah,
never flipping a switch, actually. It
right.
takes time, and you will dip back into the old way and you will spring forward into the new way.
Yep.
Yeah, it's absolutely a process.
Yeah. Okay, two more thoughts on the nutrition side. One is I believe variety is a secret weapon. We've talked about, again, a nutrition nugget we'll link in the episode notes. We did one on sensory specific satiety, which is when we continue to eat the same things, they are not satisfying anymore. And then it can leave us scavenging for something that has us feeling satisfied. And I also believe while some people, like I have a client, he's such a creature of habit and he eats the same things all the time, which to some degree is easier because there's a sense of autopilot. The other thing that I see happen is that it becomes restriction by another name because we feel like if we're not eating those things, then we're off. Or then what else can we eat? Again, can in air quotes, right? So there's a piece of some of that that the more variety we have, the more satisfied we are with the choices that we make. And then the cake can be part of that variety. Maybe then 3 bites is enough in certain situations. And then also variety creates gut microbiome diversity that also helps support healthier choices, fewer cravings, all of those kinds of things.
Yeah. Diversity, I think, is one of the pillars of nutrition, actually, which often gets overlooked. And you're right, like diversity on your plate is diversity in your microbiome. It's the easiest thing that we can do without having to pre and probiotic this and that. It's the easiest thing that we can do to promote good gut microbiome.
Yeah,
And it's often overlooked. And we have our favorites. Like I
for
have my
sure.
favorites too. It's like things that you go to, and also the same brands,
Yep.
it's the same things that we go to. So even if it is diverse, so it's often, I mean, I like to kind of follow the rule: if you've eaten it today, don't eat it tomorrow. That's like just, easy way to
Yeah.
get a little bit of a diversity into your day. But yeah, creature of habits for sure. And I love how you also said that can be a restriction in itself, because it is.
Yeah. And then the other piece is this elusive word moderation, even like balance, right? For each of us, define what it means for ourselves. I often say the frequency of moderation is occasional. And someone will say, well, how often is occasional? Once a month? And I said, if we can name the frequency, it's not occasional, right? So
Yeah.
just think about what that is for you, defining moderation for you, and ensure that we're not focusing on eliminating whole food groups in that, moderation.
Yeah. Moderation is really tricky. My grandmother would always say, everything in moderation, including moderation itself. And it's like, it's
Exactly.
so arbitrary. Like, what is it? So it depends where you are. This is, again, a part of this ultimate process that we're on. I think once you are in and you stumble into how important nutrition is, where does it end, you know? So it's kind of an ongoing journey. And where you might be at now and what you call moderation. So for example, 15 years ago, before I started being, a naturopath, my idea of moderation was probably very different to like now being, doing this for
Yes.
so long. My idea of moderation, it's just like it's drastically different. So where you are now, you can't compare yourself to what someone else is doing. It just doesn't work. You need to see, okay, what's too much for me? And you know what's too much. Again, like if you
You
really
know.
tap in, you do know. Yeah, spend some time to check in. You will feel, oh, that was too much. And I'm doing it again today. And then you need to find out why you're doing it. So, where is my moderation now? And then it's hard to even say, okay, in 5 years from now, it's going to be like this. But if you start playing around with your moderation, it also changes. It will change over time as well.
Absolutely. And I also talk about how, like we might minimize or eliminate a food group for a finite period of time. In the grand scheme of things, that is still moderation, even though in that moment for a week or a month to test something, to play with something, to give our body a rest, it's eliminating something for a short period of time. But if we are expecting ourselves to live till the end of time in an elimination plan, that's by definition not moderation.
No.
Yeah.
No, no, no. And in that case, I always also follow kind of the rules of, okay, well, focus on what you can bring in
Yes,
rather than what you're taking out. Because
exactly.
then you just feel like you're in a state of deprivation the whole time. Like, what can you bring in? Focus on all the things that you can
We
bring in.
are eating. Yep,
Yeah, that will ultimately also just allow things to kind of dwindle out.
exactly. All right, let's shift into the mental side of things, which is sometimes a bigger beast for people. Like the
Jen,
nutrition
it's
tools can make it easier, and we still have to address our thoughts and our approach and all that stuff. So we'll do that after we highlight our partner for this episode. Thanks to NutriSense for supporting Salad with a Side of Fries. NutriSense is a dietitian-led personalized program powered by 24/7 glucose data from a biosensor. NutriSense helps you build lasting habits based on your body's patterns and your reality, so you can meet your health goals, whether that's weight management, more energy, better sleep. Frankly, it's improved quality of life. NutriSense, just like Salad with a Side of Fries, isn't about hacks or a diet. It's about data-driven insights that allow you to work with your body. If you've tried every diet hack and lifestyle fix and still struggle with weight, fatigue, cravings, or confusing symptoms, you now have a different way forward with NutriSense. They send you the biosensor, you put it on the back of your arm, which gives you 24/7 glucose insights. You use their app to help you track and then work with their glucose-certified dietitians for personalized guidance so you can finally understand what works for your body and what to do about it. It's metabolism training grounded in data, shaped around your life, and supported by judgment-free accountability at every step. So the changes you make truly last. With 150,000 members, NutriSense is helping transform health. And because you're a Salad with a Side of Fries listener, you get 33% off when you go to nutrisense.io/marketing/Jenn T. Okay, I know that's super long. You don't have to remember it all. The link is in the episode notes below. When you go there, NutriSense, NutriSense.io/marketing/Jenn T, JENNT, you get 33% off. And that's automatically applied when you click that link. My favorite part since wearing my NutriSense biosensor is just the heightened awareness. I can see the 24/7 glucose data, exactly how not just food, but sleep and stress impact biology. Their app also makes it very easy to log your food, your activity. It's all connected in one place. This is a tool to help you remove fat, boost energy, reduce cravings, and even reduce inflammation. I can't wait for you to see your personal data. Remember, you get 33% off when you go to nutrisense.io/marketing/Jenn T. Okay, I should say, by the way, so a biosensor looking at your blood glucose can certainly also help you eat your cake and feel great because you can
Mm.
experiment to see what and how you can help yourself minimize dramatic spikes and crashes of your blood sugar, right? Is it the time of day? Is it how much you have? Is it how you slept? Is it what else you ate that day? All of those variables, and you can experiment and see in the data.
It's
So
the testing, not guessing.
exactly.
That's actually, and I think a lot of people need that these days because
Yes.
it's like, give me the data so I can see what's actually going on. How am I being affected?
Yes. So, all right, let's talk mental side. Fundamentally, the bottom line on the mental side, and I know this is easier said than done, but stop living by the shoulds. I think that feels like climbing Mount Everest naked and barefoot. You know, the shoulds, labeling foods on, off, good, bad, black, white, healthy, unhealthy, whatever it is. I believe that our best course is to have our own plan, whether that plan is long term, for the day, or for just this meal, right? We have our plan and put the blinders on. Like you were saying before, comparing ourselves to others, I think that's part of the beauty of putting the blinders on.
Yeah, at some point you do need to just blend out all the noise that's out there. If you're scrolling on Instagram and you're finding all your nutrition advice, that everything's going to be conflicting. What's working for you individually? You won't get any answers. You'll get down a rabbit hole. You'll feel lost and confused and overwhelmed,
Exactly.
and even more desperate in the end because you'll just be confused at what's actually happening. So yes, to some extent, you do need to find out what's working for you and stick to that. And then also checking in to see, okay, does that still work? Do these still apply? Is this still feeling good? Is this still aligned? I know people who have, for example, gone on a vegan diet, not promoting a vegan diet at all, but have gone on a vegan diet, felt great for 6 months, and a year in, like severely deficient, nutrient deficient. So you need to also kind of recheck, recalibrate, okay, where am I at? And moving
Yes.
forward too.
And the plan that you make for Halloween might be a different plan than for Hanukkah or Christmas or a holiday party with work or whatever it is. All of those plans can look a little bit different.
Mm.
And in the beginning of this episode, we started talking a little bit about guilt and shame. Now, I am big on the data, the science, the research, the biology of it all. And I will admit, what I'm about to say is my own theory, not science. Like, the data is from myself and my clients over the last almost 20 years with clients and a lifetime before that, right? I believe guilt and shame show up when we don't keep the commitments that we make to ourselves. Oftentimes we say to ourselves, I'm not going to eat dessert. I'm not going to eat any of the kids' Halloween candy. I'm having 3 bites of pumpkin pie. And then we don't do that.
Yeah, but that's the key. Why don't you do that? And I think that's really good. Like, yes, the guilt and shame does come in. I think that's managing expectations.
Yes.
But what's got us there in the first place? Because usually, so the cycle kind of goes, and you've probably seen it. It's also with binge eating and stuff like that. There's trigger, leads to a thought, leads to an emotion, leads to a behavior, eating too much, which then triggers, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I'm bad. Ah, shit. And then, okay, I'm going to do better next time. And then, okay, so you start again, start fresh, new. And then it's the same thing when the same Halloween or whatever comes around again. And so, yes, like, why don't we keep to our commitments? And this is Jenn, it's kept me so busy lately, because whether it's nutrition, whether it's sport, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a business, whether it's working, friendships, partners, whatever it is, like, we just have all these things that kind of keep us from getting to where we want to go.
Yeah. So I think one of the reasons is that we make those commitments to ourselves and we break those instead of breaking the commitments to other people. Because somebody else knows if we break a commitment to someone else. But oftentimes, the commitments to the exercise, the commitment to the food choice, those are ones that we only share with ourselves.
It's easier to go against yourself because no one's looking.
Because no one else knows but you. Little do we realize that that is the primary driver, in my theory, of the guilt and the shame.
Yeah, I mean, the guilt and the shame have been instilled a long time ago. That's the thing. And potentially even, for example, my grandmother, I'm from a Chinese background, at dinner, eat every single grain of rice on your plate.
Oh, totally.
Like, you have to eat all the food. You're not
Right, there are
eating it, like
starving children somewhere in the
oh my
world.
gosh, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Oh, the starving
Meanwhile, if we
children.
just apply a little bit of logic, me eating whatever is on this plate does nothing for the starving child somewhere else in the world.
Yeah. But nevertheless, you're told that, and you
Yes.
should feel bad for doing it. Or what are some other ridiculous rules? You have to eat dinner in order to get dessert. These arbitrary rules that we've kind of been brought up on in the Western culture. I mean, like a lot of, eat everything that's on your plate, eat in order to get dessert. Yeah, they're starving children. So we're sitting at a meal, we're feeling like what should be in a relaxed environment, table culture where we can talk and enjoy our day and talk about our day, but we're instead getting these feelings of, like you're not doing it right.
Now, in fairness, we did say in the beginning of this, we don't want dessert to be the meal. And it's again that elusive word balance between understanding nutrition before calorie dense, nutritionally poor choices.
And also, how often is that the case?
Yes.
Is it every day? Are you eating, let's just say, are you eating highly processed, let's just say highly processed with high fructose corn syrup every single day? Your body's going to crave something
Yes.
other than that. If you're just eating salad every single day, your body's also going to crave something different than that. So, how often are you, like we're using cake as an example, but like how often are you eating that cake? And
Right.
is it every day? And are you feeling bad for it? Because if you are feeling bad for it, before you even start to kick yourself for it, sit with that feeling. Like, why are you feeling bad for it? Is it because you've broken a commitment to yourself? Or is it because there's something else that has told you that food, like, I mean, the health industry will
Yes.
tell you cake is bad. That is unhealthy. If you're eating unhealthy food, or if it's not clean, that's usually synonymous for that's dirty.
Right.
That's bad. And for children, and I learned a lot of this through feeding my children, they don't, sugar's bad. You shouldn't eat too much sugar. That's what parents would say to children all the time. They're not hearing sugar's bad. They're hearing you're bad. You're bad if you eat sugar. So if we learn that, if we're learning things like this, using this language, good and bad, healthy, not healthy, super food, junk food, clean or whatever the clean, we don't say dirty food, but clean and
Yeah.
junk food, what are we telling ourselves subconsciously? This is all happening subconsciously because logically we get it. We get it. Like, of course, like, we're not bad people for eating sugar, but subconsciously, somewhere along the line, we've picked up these stories and we hold them to be true. And our radical health industry is saying, just reinforcing it. So we're just constantly having these feelings that are coming in. So, of course, when we eat that cake, we're going to feel bad because we're told that it's unhealthy. So we want to try and break that cycle. That's kind of,
Yes.
where I've realized that we've had to kind of go because everyone knows what to eat. Everyone knows what's good for them, but we don't do it. And when we are in these cycles, you're just like constantly in these loops.
Yes.
It's like a pattern.
So
that
one
happens
of the
again and again.
things that I talk about with my clients is making a plan for that event or that meal or whatever it is, and making sure, by the way, that that plan exists for reality, not for the textbook. So I just had this experience with a client. It was the Jewish holidays. We had this conversation before of what are the foods that define the holiday for you? Let's make sure that those are included in the plate that you're building. So he had this plan grounded in reality. We discussed that also, no matter what happens, it is what it is and onward. So then our call after the holiday, he was over the moon with how it went and how empowered he felt, how confident he felt then in his ability to do it again for the next holiday. But what was more interesting is that he was at this meal with someone who notoriously is one of those like food pushers because he's, fancies himself a bit of a chef, this friend who had made all of the things. And this is also my client is somebody who has a long history of always being on some kind of diet of sorts. And so the chef friend said to him, all right, what can you eat? What can you not eat? And he said to his friend, I can eat everything. And literally, his friend was speechless. So the food pusher had nothing left to say. And then the other really incredible thing, the food was set up as a buffet. He went one step further from our plan, and his wife went up to the buffet for him and made him a plate, kind of like what we often do for kids. We make them a plate and bring it back to the table. And it was so powerful to have that experience of getting to the end of the meal, not feeling like you can't breathe and you have to unbutton your pants, enjoying every single thing. They did the same thing with the dessert buffet. And it was an incredible, wonderful holiday on every single level because he had this plan that included all of the things.
Mm. And he was also open to it. I think when
Yes.
someone's notorious on diets, when a holiday comes, it's usually can't have that. No, I can't have that. And it just jars the whole entire event. But going in flexible and open, then you do get to enjoy everything. And I think on top of that, I think a lot of this is also understanding your body. And I think tracking the data is good because you get to see it, you test it, you don't guess it. But understanding your body in a way of, I'm actually full. It's a
Yes.
buffet, but I don't need to eat anymore. The tongue will say, oh, that's delicious, eat more. The mind will be like, oh, you can eat more, but you're actually full. And if you honor these hunger cues or the satiation cues, it can really just change everything.
Yes.
And if you practice this and you stay aligned with it, it also can be a very empowering tool to kind of, oh, I'm actually comfortable as I am.
Yes.
And what's crazy about this is if you say to someone after eating a plate at a buffet, like, oh, I don't need it, I'm full, I'm fine. It's almost like if you go to a party and you don't drink, it's like, well, what do you mean?
Right.
Like, why aren't you drinking?
Yeah.
Like, what? Why aren't you eating? It's like, oh, I'm actually full. It's just not part of our culture. We overeat, we overindulge. That's just a part of the foundation of I won't even say the Western society. So yeah, yes, I think something grounded in reality. And at the same time, working on the nuances that are happening in the background is what creates sustainable and long-term change.
Yes. So you brought up hunger and satiety. We have a nutrition nugget called Hunger Ratings. So we'll put that link for everybody below so that you can click that and get a refresher on one way to check in with all of that. And I think what you were just speaking to at the end there is this idea of habits and consistency and realizing more than anything. I mean, this does go back to the nutrition piece that we talked about, in the beginning, but consistency includes holidays. In the grand scheme of things, they become blips on the radar rather than a falling off if we allow them to be blips on the radar.
Yeah. I mean, I think the holidays you can kind of see coming. You know that they're coming and you can even prepare yourself. What you can't see coming is that really stressful email from your boss all week, that project which has just been pushed to that deadline, losing your job. Like that stuff you don't see, your dog dying. I don't know, just things in life
Yes.
you don't see that stuff coming and that kind of comes and blindsides you. And that's when we have what's important to have is a coping mechanism.
Yes.
And there are some people who cope with food. There are also people who cope with alcohol or gambling or porn. Like there are many different coping mechanisms, but in the nutrition space, food can be used as a coping mechanism. So while we're talking about in the realm of nutrition, we need to think about what are our coping mechanisms for stress and also what is firing our stress. How can we have a regulated nervous system? Because with a regulated nervous system, your nutritional habits will naturally change. So it's also about thinking, how am I coping in life and what am I using? It's not about the food at this point anymore. It doesn't matter what you choose to change. It's not about the food. It's about your approach to life, to stress, to whatever's happening.
Yeah. And that's certainly, I mean, we could go on and on forever with this because even with this idea of food as a coping mechanism and even adjusting that habit is an evolution and a process. And so in the beginning, it might just be shifting what food we're eating. But we think that we're supposed to go from cookies and candy as our coping mechanism to taking 3 deep breaths and meditating. And it's like, okay, there is a path between those things, not two sides of a coin.
No. And it's almost an uprooting of one
Yes.
and a transformation to another. It's what you're saying. It is the process, that whole neural pathway change that only happens through. And I think you also said with your client who had gone to this event, that empowering reward that he got, that is now the brain's way of saying, I can do this. Like it is
Yes.
slowly starting, which means the next time someone experiences the same situation, there is this transformation that's happening. So it's almost like every time you can use every opportunity to
Yes.
rewire a different, let's say, frequency or a different vibration or a different way in which you're doing things. Tell yourself a different story. It's not that you're not disciplined enough. You're just learning how to have a good relationship
Correct.
with food.
Correct. Agreed. And that idea of, saying to ourselves, oh, I suck, or I'm not disciplined enough, or I don't have the willpower, whatever it is a fundamental misunderstanding of the human body and the human mind.
Yeah. Which we all hold onto. Like, again, these stories
Yes.
that we have, it's like the only thing that holds us back is us. And when we see, hey, how can they do it and I can't do it? It's not to compare. They're just acting as a mirror for you to show you, okay, where are the things that I need to work on in myself right now? It's huge. I don't know. Like, this is for me, this whole, like we were talking about earlier, I had this Health After 30 podcast, nutrition, women's holistic health that was very much based around, I want to almost say like eat less, move more. It wasn't obviously based around that, but like,
Yeah.
what can we do about like nutritional habits? It was, the light therapy that we need, just everything that you can think of, from skin to meditation to our environment to the water we're drinking to how we're thinking. How can we change this? But in the end, you can be doing all these little things, all the ice
Yep.
baths and the smoothies and the detoxes and all the things that we're told to do, but stripping all of that away and just focusing on yourself, on your nervous system, how
Yes.
you reacting to everything in life that's going on and how you then cope with that. That's actually what I've realized to be one of the core things that need to change. Because if you're not changing the core thing, then you can fix other things, but something will still be missing. The sustenance of like, yeah, because I've seen clients, like they get to where they want to get, but it's like the full embodiment of like getting to the core of what's actually going on is missing there. It's like there's a missing link. And I think to really address the core of why we do what we do is an important place to just start playing around with.
Yes.
And it's a process. You've said it a few times. It definitely is
Yes.
a process, and you will stumble and you will fall and, go back.
And that's part of it too.
Yeah. As is life, right? Like
Right.
that, we're all doing this in life anyway. But when we take it into our health as well, it's definitely also a part of it.
All right. So essentially, we have left everybody with a lot to think about. Certainly some action steps for sure. Alana, final thoughts, something to wrap this up?
I think because the theme of today was eating cake and feeling great, I think to stand behind your decisions. And if you do start to feel bad, if you don't feel great after you eat cake, don't judge yourself. Like it's counterproductive. Question, okay, why? Like listen to that feeling in your body. Why do I feel this way? Just get curious about what your body's trying to tell you. When you don't feel great after eating cake, your body, it's trying to communicate with you. Listen to it.
Exactly. Yes. And I'll build on that, right? Because I think final thought, one piece, I always think sometimes the easiest way to understand something is to think about what creates the opposite. So if we think about what creates the uncomfortableness after eating cake, right? The not feeling great, it tends to be because of the nutritional pieces of, oh, we didn't do the other things in the day, pair it with other foods, plan for it, whatever. And or we set ourselves up with some unrealistic expectation. We weren't really allowing ourselves even the chance to feel great about it because of whatever it is. So like, final thought is potentially thinking, as you said, right? Think about what's creating the other side of it and then check in.
Yeah. Check in. I mean, people
Yeah.
will usually also as a coping mechanism, using cake to
Yes.
check out. But yes,
Right.
check in, I think would be the right term for that. Yeah.
Yes. All right. With that, let's preview our nutrition nuggets. So on Friday, in this week's bite-sized bonus episode, we're talking about Royo. I think it's Royo baked goods. I don't know if it's Royo or Royo. Anyway, we're continuing to explore a whole bunch of various breads. This one was sent to me by a client who liked their bagels. So let's see what we think. Is this have our bagels and feel great? We'll see when we look at them together on Friday in this week's bite-sized bonus episode. So be sure wherever you're listening, click the plus sign or the follow button, and then your app will alert you when it goes live on Friday morning. Well, as always, everybody, I'm your host, Jenn Trepeck. Connect with me on Instagram or all social media. I'm at Jenn Trepeck, JENNTREPECK. Website is asaladwithasideoffries.com. Pick your platform, send a message. I truly love hearing from you, whether it's your takeaways, your ideas, your questions. This is also the easiest way to learn more about working with me as your health coach. And Alana, thank you again for being here and joining me for this.
Oh, Jen, it was an absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Likewise, such a pleasure. We could talk forever, I think.
We could.
And of course, everybody, if you are not already a member, I invite you to the Happy Healthy Hub. You'll go to asaladwithasideoffries.com/membership. This shows your support for this podcast, this community, and most importantly, it supports your health. On top of the 24/7 Ask Me Anything, community chat, discounts, curated content, and more, you'll get this week's recipes for the mini chocolate cakes and the chocolate mug cake. So until next week, remember, you can have your cake and feel great. Well, friends, that's it for today's episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. Congratulations for making yourself and your health a priority. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. Share us with a friend, and we'll be back next week. Always remember, you deserve it, and you are worth it. Happy healthy.